Hi guys, it's Lynn here. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Now today I'm going to be showing you how you can remove that annoying moss that quite often grows on seedlings, including cactus and succulent seedlings. And moss in itself is more or less pretty harmless. It's not something that you have to really worry about. The reason being is that moss sort of tends to just grow on its own, and the only time you have to really worry about it with cactus seedlings or any other type of seedlings, if the moss completely overcovers the young seedlings and it's going to stop them from getting the light that they need to grow. But most of the time it's pretty harmless. It's more of an aesthetic thing, and I let it go for so long, and then when it gets quite bad like this, I just remove it. And a few people have been saying that they're having this happen a lot on their seedlings, and what do you do about it? Well, what I do is I do remove. I'm going to mention how I remove it. But if you have where they're growing in the baggies, such as this case here with the little baggies on them, I always recommend keeping them in the baggies for 3 months minimum before getting them out the baggies. But unless that the seedlings, the soil was absolutely smothered and the seedlings were not visible, then I would actually say take them out the bag before the 3 months and remove them in this method. But just to let you know that moss is pretty harmless in itself. And sometimes you'll also get algae, which is more the slimy type of green that grows on as well. That's often a sign that the soil is kept far too wet, and if that's the case, you need to give it more ventilation. But that's another thing again. Algae can smother your seedlings and can be certainly more harmful than moss ever can be. And these are my seedlings here. I've got a mixture of different seedlings that I've got growing under the glass here. And I do remove, because these are quite big enough now, to remove the glass a little bit for a few hours every day. Just get a bit more ventilation. But first I'm going to talk about what causes moss on soil. Well, there's three main reasons what causes it. The most common one is light, excess light. And funny enough, I noticed that when I sow seeds during the winter months, because we have grow lights, so if you have grow lights you can sow seeds at any time of year. Even though the grow lights are very bright, I rarely get problems with moss. But when I'm growing seeds during the summer months, as I am now, and even though these are in the grow lights, they're in a room that does get sunshine, but not directly on these. This is purely with the Mars Hydro SP150 grow light, which is amazing, guys. I still find, because of the longer days in general, the excess light creates moss, and that's only my experience. Light does create moss forming because it just seems to encourage it. And if you've got grow lights as well and they're on for sort of 12 hours or 18 hours a day, you might find you have this problem because of the excess light, which you do need obviously for seedlings. Another thing is also the moisture, because cactus seedlings and all seedlings need to be kept moist at all times until they're large enough to go a bit longer in between waterings. And I normally recommend once they probably get about 1 centimetre, 2 centimetre in diameter, depending on the type of cactus seedlings. You can let them dry a little bit slightly in between waterings. These are all still quite young. These are our Pachysceres pringles, nice fatty, 3 big fatty ones. So I'm letting them dry a little bit slightly than compared to all of these other ones here. These are Lophophoras, and a mixture of all different types here we've got. But the excess moisture and the high light does encourage the moss. And also another thing is high nutrient soil. Now I use seed sowing soil when I sow my seeds, and I mix it with extra sand and grit as well. But seed sowing soil is less high in nutrients than traditional type of normal soil can be. But there's still nutrients in it, so that can also encourage moss as well. And also the type of water you use. I know some growers that will only use distilled water or deionized water to water their seedlings, and they say that this greatly minimalizes the chances of moss growing, and also moss growing not as rampant as you can see here. I've never used that. I personally use rainwater with all of my cacti, including my seedlings, And obviously rainwater would have less nutrients than tap water, because tap water would have nutrients in as well. But even rainwater does have nutrients in, obviously. But I think in this case it's down to a mixture of everything. But that's a little bit about why moss grows on soil of young seedlings. And now I'm going to show you how you can, what I do to get rid of it. So I let it grow so far, then I get rid of it. Now I use 3 little tools. I use, first of all, long-handled tweezers here. Then I use one of these little brushes. This is actually a little mascara brush. This I actually managed to get from the chemist here. It's a completely clean one that has to get it behind the counter. Usually it's for makeup application. And so if you go to some of the makeup counters and ask if you could buy one, they'll sometimes give you one. But if not, any old mascara brush. But a little pipe cleaner as well may work in the same way. But you don't need all of these 3 tools. I'm just saying this is the 3 tools you can use. And the other one, which is easy to get, this is just a little a cocktail stick, as they call them. And they usually are quite sharp, but I sort of knock the sharp bit off, so it's a bit blunt, and that's good for rounding it round. So I'm just going to show you how I remove it here. First of all, with a little brush, here you can go, and obviously when you've got seedlings, the difficult thing is you don't want to disturb the roots. Young seedlings, cactus seedlings and succulent seedlings have very delicate roots. So if I was to just go like that and disturb them, that's very, very, can be a disaster for them. So you have to be very careful. But I'm just going to show you here where you can go in between with this brush. I just gently brush, because you can, turning over the soil, which I'm going to show you in a minute, see, like this, and then I sort of round it round, a little bit like as if you're wrapping up candy floss. And these brushes are really good for getting rid of the moss, as you can see. So that's one way. The other way here is with the little blunt end of a cocktail stick here, and then this is very good for getting in between where you've got a lot of tight little cactus seedlings here. Moss is very soft to come off. It does come off very easy, so you just really want to gently get in between the cacti there, and that comes off very easy as well. A bit of a time consuming job. I'm going to show you how it all looks when it's all done. I'm just giving you an example of how it's done there, and then that comes off. Then the other way, and this is my favourite way, is by using tweezers. Long handled is better if you can, and this is great because you can literally just pick it off like that and get in between the little cacti there without causing any damage at all to them. It's very good, especially with the moss that grows quite tall like this. Sometimes if you leave it, it can grow like grass, but just picking it up, it's brilliant. It's so much quicker to do it that way. So that's just the little tools I use there. And then I'm going to give you a bit of an example. That's there's not really much growing in here at all. I think that's probably all just moss, but just pick out what I can here as well. So that's all out. Some little seedlings there. So just get in between. And that's the best way of doing with it. And then once I've done that, then I turn over the soil with the stick, and that just helps to keep it at bay. And the moss is going to really keep coming back again. But as I say, it's pretty harmless. This is more as an aesthetic thing, and just to keep it looking better there. So that's really all you need to do. I'm going to carry on doing all this. I don't think any of the seeds, there's only one that's germinated out of that, so I'm not sure. But obviously when you are turning over the soil, if you've got seeds that haven't yet germinated, you need to be very careful that you don't take them out of the soil, especially if they're tiny seeds. So probably best to do this when you can actually see seedlings on them. And there we go, like so. And then I'm going to show you what it's like when it's all cleaned up. One thing I love about tweezers as well is that you can just sort of literally just pinch the top of the moss here, and it comes away pretty easy. Just pick it out without any harm at all to the seedlings. So tweezers will definitely be my number one with the moss removal, guys. There you go, guys, that's all done. Now I'm going to be starting on this other side. As you can see there, it's like a green forest. I'm going to be starting on that now, but I just wanted to show you a bit of an example there of how easy it is to remove moss from seedlings. And if you want to know how to grow cacti from seed, then do check out the video I've made on how to grow cacti from seed. Links up above and also down below in the video description. And if you want to know more on how to grow cacti and succulents, then please do check my website out, desertplantsofAvalon.com. And if you haven't done already, please do subscribe for daily videos on cacti and succulents. I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of plant power from across the Emerald Isle. And until my next video, bye. And bye from the happy seedlings.